أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
فما أوتيتم من شيء فمتاع الحياة الدنيا وما عند الله خير وأبقى للذين آمنوا وعلى ربهم يتوكلون والذين يجتنبون كبائر الإثم والفواحش وإذا ما غضبوا هم يغفرون.
بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. Welcome back everyone to our daily Ramadan reflections, where each night we look into a different juz and we look into a verse or verses from that juz. Alhamdulillah, tonight we are in the 24th night of Ramadan and we just finished listening to a couple verses out of juz number 25. Specifically, these were out of Surah Ash-Shura and they were verses 36 and 37. And in these verses, Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, so whatever thing you have been given, it is but for enjoyment in the worldly life. But what is with Allah is better and more lasting for those who have believed and upon their Lord rely. Subhanallah. Allah Azza wa Jal here is reminding us that every single thing in this world is temporary. That everything in this world is temporary. And that what is awaiting us in the hereafter is not only better, but also more lasting. Not only is it better, but it is more lasting. Subhanallah. And so who is it that will receive this? Well, Allah Azza wa Jal tells us, describes these individuals. They are those who, number one, they have believed. And number two, they put their faith and trust in Allah. Again, number one, they believed. And number two, they put their faith and trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. They put their faith and trust in Him that He will replace everything in this world with things in the hereafter that are better and more lasting. And subhanAllah, in the following verse, Allah Azza wa Jal describes to us, continues this description of these individuals, and He tells us that there are those who also avoid the major sins and immoralities, and when they are angry, they forgive. So again, there are those who avoid major sins and immoralities. And subhanAllah, as we've mentioned before, the immoralities are in fact a part of major sins. Sahulala. The immoralities are actually in of themselves major sins. So why is Allah Azza wa Jal specifying the immoralities? Well, of course, this is to emphasize the importance of this. And we notice here that Allah Azza wa Jal pointed out major sins. He did not say all sins. He specified major sins. This is because of the fact that, subhanAllah, brothers and sisters, we all commit sins. Every single one of us commits sins. on a constant basis as well. As we know in the authentic hadith of the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he tells us that all the children of Adam are sinners, and that the best of sinners are those who repent. So again, we all are sinners. However, Allah Azza wa Jalla is not telling us that this is, or the things that are waiting us in the hereafter are for those who avoid all sins. No, Allah Azza wa Jalla is telling us it is for those who avoid the major sins. So it's important to begin, of course, with the major sins. If you're dealing with riba, then you do your utmost best to get out of this. This is a major sin. If you are stealing, this is a major sin. If you are in a haram relationship, if you are looking at things that are haram, if you are doing things that are haram, again, these are major sins and immoralities. So again, description of those that will receive these things in al-akhirah that are better and last longer and are more lasting, those who avoid the major sins and immoralities, and when they are angry, they forgive. SubhanAllah. Which we know is something that isn't exactly easy at times. It is difficult. However, we know that the Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has described to us and explained that the strongest amongst us is actually the individual that is able to control themselves when they are angry. Again, the strongest amongst us is the one that is able to control him or herself when they are angry. So let's go over these 5 characteristics. Number 1, those who believed. Number 2, they put their faith and trust in Allah Azza wa Jal. Number 3, they avoided major sins. Number 4, they avoided immoralities. And number 5, when they were angry, they forgive. When they become angry, they forgive. And for these individuals, Allah is promising them that everything in this world will be replaced with something that is better and more lasting. Brothers and sisters, before we end, I'd like you all to just take a moment and look back to your childhood. Look back, and I want you to remember your favorite toy. Whatever it was. Maybe it was a doll, a teddy bear, a race car, or a remote control car, whatever it was. I want you to just look back at that toy and remember how much joy that toy brought you. Remember how happy you were when you played with that toy. And also remember how distraught you would become when you lost that toy. When it ended up missing. It was as if the world was ending. You would cry and you would scream and shout. And as soon as you find it, you're laughing and you're joking and you're happy. SubhanAllah, if we look back now, if we were able to see a video of this, maybe some of you have this, if you're able to see this, see yourself in this situation, you would SubhanAllah, you would laugh and say, wow, that little toy, that little teddy bear or doll or race car, whatever it was, that little thing is what brought me so much happiness. And that little thing caused me to scream and to shout and caused me so much trouble when I lost it. That thing, how silly. You feel silly. You laugh, you're a child, but you feel silly. Well, brothers and sisters, what if I told you that on the day of judgment, we will look back on this very earth in the same light. That we will view it as if it was that toy, that meaningless toy that is not deserving of our pain, our anger. We will look back and we will say, this is what we spent all of our lives working for and neglected al-akhirah, neglected eternity. This is the thing that we fought over and we were so distraught over. And we screamed and cried and shouted over this. And we will feel the same way that we feel right now looking back at ourselves when we were children. SubhanAllah. Brothers and sisters, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us the insight and wisdom to remember that this world is all but temporary, and that what is awaiting us in the hereafter is better and more lasting, and to make us of these individuals who believe in Him, who put our faith and trust in Him, who avoid the major sins and avoid immoralities, and that whenever we become angry, we're able to forgive. Ameen. Allahumma ameen. As always, I ask Allah Azza wa Jal to give us the ability to take full advantage of this beautiful and blessed month, especially during these last 10 nights. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik. أشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت أستغفرك وأتوب إليك وجزاكم الله خيرا والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.